Hi, I'm Mario, and today I'm going to be removing some of the interior panels on my Chevy Colorado. Mainly what I'm referring to are like the door sill panels and the C-pillar panel. Also the panel that goes to the rearmost of the cab. So on the interior there is a plastic panel that goes behind the seat backs. One thing to mention, I am working with the Chevy Colorado extended cab, so that may have some differences with the extended cab versus the crew cab. The crew cab has larger seats in the rear. And the other thing is that there's another distinction on my truck. I have from the factory a rear seat delete. So for instance, where the headrests would normally be, I have a plastic blank that goes back there. So there may be some differences, but nonetheless, what I want to do is illustrate what I did to my truck. By no means am I asking you or telling you or showing you how to work on your truck. I'm just simply demonstrating what I did to my truck, and this is not an instructional video. I want to get this out of the way. There are airbags on the interior, and so I want to be very, very careful around the airbags. I don't want to detonate those, so I'm disconnecting my battery, and I'm being very careful around airbags. Okay, so with that out of the way, the other thing I want to do is I want to make sure that in this video that I'm covering what the panels look like on the interior, on the back side of the panels. So I'm going to be going over where all of the various clips are located and where the different plastic tabs are located. And so I'll demonstrate each of the panels that I have removed here on the table, and then also over to the vehicle, I'll show you where those tabs line up and the various tools that I used to make this happen. So I think I have them all here. In fact, I have more than what I used. For instance, I think I used this one, this pry bar, and maybe these three would have sufficed. And then you can, I have a pick here. You probably get away with a small flat screwdriver. And then also a 7mm ratchet. There is one 7mm bolt in my case. For the seats, there's going to be more hardware. That's different. I'm not covering removal of the seats in this video. Another thing that I'm not covering in this video is the center console. I have that in another video for the center console. And the headliner is not included in this video, just to get that up front. On the passenger side, footwell, basically where you would place your feet, or the floor mat for the passenger side. On the door side, there is a fuse block and there's a cover. So that is also an interior panel that I will be demonstrating where the tabs are. This one, for some reason, it's a bear to get in and out. So I'll go over that one too. At the rearmost of the cab, against that bulkhead, there is one large plastic piece that attaches to the back of the cab. And so this is behind the rear seats. And for instance, this is where I believe this is where the headrest goes. I think there's a seat mount or something here. At any rate, in my case, I have these blanks. There's a tab at the bottom of the blank here, and then a couple clips at the top. And this is the part number for the blank. And the blank inserts like so. The tab goes here, and then it just clips in really easy. I believe there are 3 nuts welded into the cab in this area here. So as far as removal of the seat, I would just have to guess that there's some sort of fastener there that holds that seat together. As far as this panel by itself, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 on each side, plastic little Christmas tree nylon bolts that sit right inside. So this is where you would want to get your pry bar underneath and just pry that out. So there's 4 of those along the bottom. The thing in the middle here, this is the cover for the hydraulic bottle jack, and so this pulls off relatively easy. So this is the bottom, this is the top, and basically you just push these 2 tabs inward, and then there's a tab on top and it just lifts out. There's no clip to unfasten, it just basically the tabs rest in the top and it hinges out. And so here are the tabs. This is the top, and then this is along the side towards the bottom. And here is the part number. It's upside down, but I'll flip it around. This is the part number here for the hydraulic bottle jack cover. As far as these blanks, there's basically just 2 tabs that, so you could probably go after it with one of these picks in here and just kind of pop that out. Okay, and then, so with those items removed, this is the tricky part, and I did make a mistake on this myself, so I'm going to show you what the back side of this panel looks like. So the key feature here is that there are 4 clips on each of the sides. So this here, this is the driver's side. So for instance, this is my passenger side C-pillar panel. And this thing sits like so. This is inverted. Something like that. So since I wanted to access the sill plates, I went after the piece in the back, then I went after this, and then removed the sill plates. I may have been able to remove just these 2 sill plate pieces first, but my concern was there's this huge plastic piece here and a very deep tab that receives that A-pillar. And it seemed like it was posing an issue getting it out, and I didn't want to force it too much. So I may have been able to take this forward piece out first, but I opted to remove all of these. The first thing I went after were these 4 clips here. So this plastic piece sits on top of the 2 C-pillar covers. And all of the clips are oriented horizontally. These 2 go inside of the C-pillar cover, and then these 2 here do not. And then in the center at the top, this is from the top looking down, there are 1, 2, 3 of the clips in the center, also oriented vertically. This is from the top. So there's 3 here, and then above the bottle jack there is 1. All of these clips are oriented the same way, the same direction. This is above the bottle jack from the top looking down. And then below the headrest area, at least I'm calling it the headrest, the backrest, whatever it is, this is an additional clip. and then a plastic little tab. So each of the seat backs have this scenario here from the top looking down. So I'm going to pan from the driver's side, and then this is going towards the passenger side. And then one thing worth noting is I managed to break this clip here because I was just uncertain how to get after it. But I thought maybe this clip was oriented 90 degrees the other way, and I managed to break that. And then real quick, here is the part number for that back panel. This is the part number here. This is the cover here for the C-pillar. And then so the seat belt would go here, and there is a little bolt behind this cover that says airbag. And I believe I found an airbag right at the top here. For me, it was a little simple. I didn't have to worry about this seat belt cover here, but there is a bolt back here that I wanted to remove. And so you can just use a little pick, and then that just stays in place. And then you can use your 7mm ratchet to get the bolt out. From there, it's just a matter of going after these clips here. There are 4 of them. And actually, before I go any further, it is possible to separate this seatbelt piece from the lower piece. So there's the part number for that cover. This is the C-column cover here. So at the top, this is where the seat belt would be. There are clips here and here at the top. And then once those are out, so on the bottom there are 2 tabs, but then there's 2 clips on the top, 1 clip here, and another clip there. You could, theoretically, I suspect, starting from the bottom, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these clips. You could theoretically pry those out and then collapse this section here and separate out this piece where the seat belt is and get this out. In my case, since I don't have a seat belt in the back, I don't know that it would make much sense, but it seems difficult to get these apart. So this here and this seem to be the biggest hurdles. This black molded piece has a little tab that goes into this gray area here, so this would have to be lifted up. So that would be right here, right here. This would be the back window, would be here. And there's that tab, and there's that. So here I'm holding the door sill, and then so this is the forward part of the door sill, and then this goes up against the C-pillar, this top part here that I'm pointing at. And then this is where these 2 pieces join. And what's peculiar about this is there's a way to get this out, and it has to do with a little clip right here. So when this is installed, you can see the seam, which will be right about here where the 2 pieces join. And then there's a clip right here. So this would have to be depressed. Trying to do it, let's see. This would have to be depressed here and then rotated out like so. So the fuse block would be here. This is the front passenger seat footwell. and you would have to rotate it. Once this tab is depressed and you can rotate it, then that'll free this up to move inboard. So when you work with this seam here, what you're fighting against are these two tabs here, and that this thing is inserted here, and I've actually almost broke that there. There's also little tabs here. So there's a raceway for electrical wire that goes here. And then there's these little tabs. So this is the forward piece, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs that connect up to the raceway. And then this is where the seam is at. This just kind of clips into the rearmost sill plate, and then that's that tab that you can get access to. Twist that out. And then once that's twisted and moved out, then you can pull this whole apparatus out this way, but you'll have to hit these two tabs here to get those out. And another thing that will make it easy is there is a nut that needs to be removed here, or nut or bolt, I can't remember. So this is the fuse block cover. There's a nut or bolt that needs to be removed here. And how this thing attaches is a pain. There's a tab that holds this thing in, and it's hard to get at. And then the clips here, they're also kind of tabs. There's a little plastic part here, and then another clip here. So what you want to be careful with is there's a little insert here, but then this is the tab that you can get the release on. So it would look something like that. Get that up and out, and then once you get that, then this can pry out this way. So yeah, hinging this thing in is a pain. To get it out, pull that up, and then you can just pull this out like that and towards the back of the vehicle. So getting these two clips out will be facilitated by removing the fuse block cover, the interior fuse block cover, because you'll get access to this here. You can pry that out, and then coming from behind here, you can try to get a tool back here coming from behind and pry that out. And then you just have to be careful that when pulling this out, you want to try to raise this out and up and then pull it out. So part number for the fuse block cover. So there's the label there, fuse block cover. Part number for, this is the forward piece of the sill. And then this is the rearmost piece of the sill. On the rearmost sill piece, okay, so this would be the front, and this is the rear of the vehicle. So I'm coming, this is the passenger side, so I'm coming, passenger entrance would be here. And then so flipping it over, starting from the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little tabs are holding that raceway, the electrical channel. So this is the plastic chase where the electrical is run, starting at the back of the vehicle. So here we are, this is the rearmost part of the truck. I'm on the passenger side, and it runs here and then up to the front, and this is where the fuse block is. fuse block is up there. So I'm going to get this forward part of my sill plate installed first. Being careful with this plastic tab here, because that's going to insert in that little hole right up top here. So I think this would probably be the last piece you would remove, and you might be able to start your project by simply removing this piece here. However, it's going to have this contention here as well as this contention here. I really don't know how to get this forward sill plate off without removing this. I'm just going to insert it here, and essentially this would be the little step area here, and looks like there's a little form to fit right in there. Should pop right in place. So I'll leave this kind of a little bit loose here so I can get that C-pillar part in. The fuse block cover also has this little wing nut here, little plastic wing nut. The threads are metal. Here's the fuse block. I don't know if it's even a good picture, but there's the fuse block, and then there is the little stud coming out of the body, and that's for my little plastic wing nut. So it'll be oriented as such. The wing nut will go, so the wing nut will go here, and this will be oriented as such. And this is the fun part, is you have to get the cover, over that stud, but you also have to get these tabs in the rear have to seat inside here. So this is like a real contention. So you're supposed to be able to, theoretically, you should be able to have these sections inside here and then slide that in like so. Alright, let's try that. Okay, yeah. Well, I started tightening it down and then it wanted to pop out, so I think that's seated well. Sorry for the light, but the only way I can explain it is this is not easy, and I'm not going to tighten that down too much. There. So I got a little bit of torque on the wing nut, but not a huge amount, and it seems to be
pretty good.
Okay, so in an effort to speed things along in the video, I'm going to show you the last two pieces kind of just quickly, and then I'll continue beyond that because I want to put some extra insulation, so the actual screwing and installing of the last panels, I mean, I think I got the difficult part out with that sill plate, and for whatever reason that fuse block cover, man. Okay, so at any rate, but here is my C-pillar cover. I'll start here by inserting it here. So if you're removing this piece here, if you're removing that, the first one would be the back panel, and then you would go after this part here. And then you can see there, that clip lines up, that one clip lines up there. There's another one lower, and that lines up there. A little foggy here, but at any rate, you can see where that one lines up. And then this one lines up here. For me, that's where my hinge is at. So that's right there. And then the other one is right here. It's at the bottom of the window. There's a clasp there. And then this is where the nut, this is where the bolt goes, a little 7mm. You can see that's where the little thing says airbag. And then believe it or not, guess what's back here? Looks like a little side curtain thing. So there's a little terminal here. I'm gonna guess that's for an airbag or something, but there's the release there. So obviously I have a factory delete, so things are different for me. Another little terminal thing here, little plastic safety clasps, and then looks like that depresses there. Okay, now here it is here. So this might pull up and out, and then there's a little clasp there. All right, and then this one here towards the bottom. Little red thing. It looks like a little plastic tab there. Hopefully that's focusing. Let's see if I can move this back. See if I can get that to focus. So the lowermost mount point here, little wiring clip. I'm not even sure what this harness is for here, but we got a clip here, another receiver for the clip here, another one here, another one there, and then the bolt at the top, and then the airbag. And then along the back, starting in the center, got 1, 2, 3 slots there. There's the slot above the bottle jack. There's the slot that's near the headrest. There's the hole that receives that little plastic. And then you have on the sides, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, because 3 and 4 go into the plastic molding. There's only those 2 on each side actually attached to the body. And then the plastic Christmas tree things, there's one here and one here. So these might actually be bolts for your seat. For me, it's just to hold the plastic cover. So there's little nuts welded in the back. And there's 2 on each side. There's the driver's side I went ahead and purchased some insulation from, I think, Lowe's. You know, you can get it at Home Depot, any of the box places. And what I purchased here was denim. And I'm not sure what the R value is, but it, you know, it breaks apart rather easily, and also creates a lot of dust rather easily. There's other stuff that you might want to purchase, some thinner pieces that have foil backing that you might find in the HVAC area for heating, ventilation, air conditioning, ductwork, and that sort of thing. This I purchased in the building materials section, actually designed to go in between wood studs and that sort of thing. So essentially, I think what I'll do is in my C-pillar, I'll go ahead and put a piece there, and then I also inserted some in this cavity here. I'm trying to pack it in as lightly as possible because making it dense isn't really the objective. So I'm on the driver's side and I want to get some insulation behind here, so I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the removal process here on this column. So I have my little pick here, and I'll just use it to get the cover here that says airbag. So I'm going after the 7mm bolt back there. Aye. So they do give you extra room, but my fat fingers don't fit so well. All right. I forgot there's actually there's just a little cavity here to hold that screw. I was all worried about dropping it. Okay. So right at the top here of this black plastic part is where my first clip is. Let's see if I can pry it this way then. Alright, I'm going to go in with this longer one here. Okay. So I was able to use the pry bar to get the forward part of the clip, and then I just reached behind with my hand and then got the other half, and then as that one went, all three of them went. So I was able to pry this first forward part off with the bar, and I could see it flexing out. And then I just came in with my hand behind and kind of gave it support. As soon as I did, the whole thing went. So I went ahead and placed some of that insulation in various areas. There's some cavities back there that I went ahead and put some of that denim insulation. One thing to note is just because there's a cavity there, putting insulation in place of the cavity doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get sound deadening qualities out of that. Believe it or not, empty space, voids actually help that sound deadening. But at any rate, this is what I did. There's some little spaces back here, so I just kind of filled in back behind and where the jack would normally go, and up along the top here, so back behind. So just kind of didn't go too crazy, but just figured I'd give it a shot. What's up next is get this last panel in place. I mean, essentially this is it. Just get this panel placed in here and I should be good to go. So here you can see it's where that plastic thing goes in that hole there. Then I got a clip. It's going to go there. And then you can see these are the bolt holes. There's 3 of them there. For your guys' reference that may have a back seat. I think I'll start by getting these plastic Christmas tree nuts kind of situated here. At least kind of close, so at least I know I got them close. And then, there we go. There's one side. If I recall correctly, there should be one right above the I can feel right above the jack. There should be one there. Kind of started, so I know I'm lined up. I'll just kind of feel around here. Let's go to the other side and see what's going on here. So these, so I should have 2 here at the top. And then those 2 here go into the plastic side here. Finish up there. Nice. Then just hinges up here. That was my neighbor leaving. He's got a really nice Dodge. So and I'll just get these blanks inserted and then I'm done. I'm going to get the vacuum in here and try to clean things up a little. We'll have to see how that insulation works. I might have to put some paper up against it or something. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't get all mildewy. And hopefully it helps with some of the sound. You know, like I said, you don't want to compact it too much. But all right, well that does it. I think I demonstrated everything that I set out to demonstrate here in this video, and I hope it was, you know, informative. Tune in for the next project. Thanks for watching.